What does settle down mean?
So I don't think life starts at marriage.
Like, is my life over?
Absolutely not.
Times have changed.
Yeah.
You might find yourself being in a relationship that's not really great.
You have to get married, that you have to have kids.
And you're like, well, I should just do it, I guess. Something just like flipped in my mind and I decided I'm gonna live my life for myself right now. A lot of people were telling me like, yo, you shouldn't do that. And I was like, but I want to. Like the power of saying no, it really can change your entire life. When you guys are not exclusive, date around, date multiple guys at the same time. Don't take it so seriously.
Right. But when we say high value man, basically we're just asking for the bare minimums.
The bar is so low nowadays.
The bar is so low.
When they're talking about high value woman, they're talking about everything and
under the sun.
The only time men are gonna mention equality is when the bill comes.
This is redefining modern feminism.
When you invest in yourself, you're always gonna win. Start acting like the version that you want to become. Make it fun.
That opened my eyes just now.
And welcome to this episode of BTW podcast, Bellabeat Talks
Wellness
podcast. Today, we'll be talking about beauty, self-perception. Interesting topic.
Maybe self-perception.
Beauty, self-perception, and relationships, and also its role in the wellness of women.
Absolutely.
Today, we'll also be having an amazing guest joining from Miami.
Very special guest.
Very special guest, Koko Slunjski.
AKA Koko.
AKA Koko, yes.
Hi, Koko.
Hello, ladies.
How are you doing on this fine day?
I'm doing wonderful. Urshka, thank you for pronouncing my name perfectly because that's very rare.
Awesome.
Thank you. And thank you for pronouncing my name correctly as well. That's also
I'm
very
sure.
rare.
I'm sure.
I just won't pronounce either of your names. So.
All right, this was a good start.
This is a great start. Awesome.
Well,
Koko, welcome. Thanks for being with us. Why don't you just go ahead and start us off with a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself to our audience?
As you guys already mentioned, I am in Miami right now. I'm originally from Croatia. I moved to the US around 10 years ago on my own, kind of not supposed to stay here for that long. I fell in love with the country and then I went to school here for a bit and I just loved the lifestyle and the opportunities here in the US. And I actually used to be a makeup artist. I was doing that for a very long time when I was living in New York. And that was like my dream, always to be a makeup artist. And I loved beauty and I loved how women were, just their reaction when they would see themselves after I was after the makeup, like so much tears, confidence. I'm never going to forget this one time when I did this girl's makeup. She was 16. It was my first time doing her makeup. And her first time her getting her makeup done. She honestly started crying and it was just such a special moment.
That's
yeah,
really
and
sweet.
then once I moved to Miami 2 years ago after COVID, actually in the middle of COVID because New York was still pretty shut down, I was flying back and forth to Miami for photo shoots because Miami was pretty open. And then I just saw myself really happy in Miami. I don't know if it's the sunshine, if it's the ocean, but I love it here. And it's been almost 3 years. And now I kind of changed my content from... So I used to be your typical beauty blogger. I was posting makeup tutorials, product recommendations. And when I moved to Miami, I kind of wanted to change my content. Actually, I was like dabbling into TikTok. And then I just started posting advice and just opinion. And not that I'm like calling myself a dating coach or anything like that. But people sometimes do think that I'm a dating coach because a lot of my content is about dating. So that's a little bit about me.
That's interesting.
It's born in Croatia. I don't know if I mentioned that. I don't know if we...
Yes, you
mentioned that.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's amazing.
I'll be driving that home.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you said that you do dating advice, and that's really interesting. And, you know, my inner teenager is coming out because I used to be really into like the dating advice columns, and I used to always read about it. And I love dating advice. I think it's great.
It's always fun.
It's always fun.
It's always fun, even if you don't need it.
Even if you don't need it, exactly. But I was going to ask you
the drama.
So that's what I was going to ask you. Like right now, there's always trends going on in relationships. Whether it's the mental load or anything, like there's always themes. And so I was going to ask you, what is the current theme, do you think, about like with relationships that you see people are coming to you most for?
So I've been posting dating content for about 2 years, and I see it's the same thing over and over again. And it's women not being able to find a high value man. That's like their question. Like, where can I find them? I feel like sometimes women think that they're like hiding in a little, alley or something. And then also I get, and I get a lot of questions about men. Just my audience is mostly female. I mean, it's 98% female, so I can only speak from that perspective. But girls come to me saying like everything seemed well, like I was going well with this guy, and then he started pulling off. And then a question that, as we established by now, that I'm from Croatia, which is a very like traditional culture in a sense. Like a man is always paying for dinners, for this. Like a man is just like taking care of things. When I started posting content, you don't even discuss it. It's just like a normal thing. But when I moved to the US, when I started posting, that was first a big shock for me because I didn't know that doesn't work. Like, it's not always the case in other countries. But till this day, like, I don't know how many times I posted a video saying that a guy should pay for a first date. And without a question, that video is always going to go viral, like every single time. If I just say, like, a guy needs to pay, they will, when I say they, I mean like trolls. They're just gonna
they come out with their guns.
Yeah. The warriors.
Yeah.
The male warriors.
Yeah. I call them the YouTube warriors. Gosh,
I call them the
awful.
keyboard warriors.
Keyboard warriors.
I don't know. They're just fighting an invisible battle.
Absolutely.
But that's mostly the topic. Paying on dates, if a guy's being kind of like hot and cold, and then like, where can I find a man?
Yeah, well, good luck finding a man. I mean, that's like for real. Yeah, but I think that's really interesting, and that's something I've noticed. So I'm from the U.S. I live in Croatia now, and the person I'm dating is actually a Balkan person, and they are so different than Americans. Like, I have so many relationship traumas from U.S. men. Yeah, I'm calling you out, guys. I have trauma from dating you.
I want to hear a little bit of that experience. What's the difference?
Well, it's so different. And so, like you had mentioned, like the traditional roles, like men here are just very traditional, and they take up those, patriarchal roles. Like, men are like, no, I will work, and I'm going to pay for things, and I'm going to take care of you, and I'm going to create this safety for you. If you want to have a family, I'm going to create an environment for you to feel safe in and have a family in. And I'm going to take care of the child as well because I love my children. In the U.S., getting a man to take care of your child is like, you have better luck finding a leprechaun. Like, let's be real. It's awful. And men in the U.S. are very entitled, and they're very so much like, so a lot of them hyperfixate on feminism, and they think, oh, because you're a feminist, you will pay for everything. You will do everything by yourself. Like, you have to do this, you have to do that. And they just don't really take up that traditional role, which was, paying. But I think, ladies, if you're listening to this, find you a Balkan man. They're traditional, but they're lovely. They have so much love to give. You agree?
Yeah, I have a little bit different perspective because I'm Slovenian. Slovenian society is one of the most egalitarian societies out there.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay, not to brag.
Slovenian men are known for being one of the most the highest rates of participation at home with chores and children.
Okay,
that's
nice.
an interesting statistic.
That's very interesting.
But I have a Balkan partner. Yeah. I have a Croatian partner, and I love that as well. And again, like he has kind of like a traditional mindset, but in a way he's very much a feminist because he participates at home. He participates with our child, and it's a totally different, like kind of like a fresh new mindset. So you kind of get the best out of both worlds.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's funny you guys mentioned feminism. I just posted a video that is currently blowing up with all the keyboard warriors, as we mentioned.
Go on.
I said, funny how the only time men are going to mention equality is when the bill comes.
Right.
They're getting very aggressive. Exactly. Like, when do you ever hear a man fighting for equality? I just
Rarely.
never heard of it
Rarely.
until I start posting about paying on dates. Then they start
And
calling
then they
the
started coming
Exactly.
out.
card.
And this is an interesting point because I just wanted to say that I really like your content. At the beginning, when I started watching it, I must admit, like I was kind of dismissive of it, like as an entertainment, like a social media entertainment. But then the more I watched it, I was like, no, this is redefining modern feminism. This is like taking a completely new approach, and it's opening these topics, exactly what you're talking about. Men only mention like equality, when the bill comes up. And,
Only time.
and women talk, we, want equality and we talk about feminism, but then all of a sudden we find ourselves doing it all, like taking it all upon ourselves, like doing the job, having careers, and then doing all the things at work, raising our children. So basically, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Well, no wonder women are staying
Yeah,
single.
the lines are getting blurred.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they are. They absolutely are.
I mean, my boyfriend is American, but he is, I feel like he was brought up in a more traditional mindset. And his mom is Italian, but like a long time ago, maybe like a great-grandmother or something. And whenever I tell him, like, I can see some European in you, he's like, no, not at all, but I can tell.
That's a compliment
Nice.
for me. If somebody was like, I see some European in you, I'd be like, well, thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, European is classy, so
Exactly. Not saying America's not classy, but as an American from Arkansas, I mean,
We all know what we're talking about. Come on.
class is not really our thing, So come on, keyboard warriors, bring it on, bring on that engagement.
Oh, they're jumping right now.
They're coming in. Yeah.
I mean, other things are your
awesome.
thing, so just let this thing be our thing.
Yeah.
Let's be European thing. All right, moving on.
Moving on. Oh, I thought you had something.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, I want to kind of circle back to feminism. I know we said we talk about beauty, self-perception, and relationships, but I guess this falls in the relationship category. But feminism, for me, it's so beneficial for men to be feminists because it's all about equality. It's not just about women's rights. It's human rights. Feminism is just human rights. We want equality, and it's not, we want equality so we don't have to work. No, we want equality so things work, and so things are more balanced. So when you look at maternity leave, or the lack thereof in the U.S., women get it. Men do not get it, but feminists, we want men to have it as well. We want you to stay at home with the kid.
Yeah.
We want you to take time off and, heal and
Have a relationship with your children.
Exactly. And we want you to, we want equal pay. We want, to be looked at as a serious, competitor whenever it comes to, business and opportunities and stuff. And so I think it's so funny that men only think about feminism when they're trying to make a point about themselves, like not paying the bill. Or
When they're trying to get out of something.
it's always
Exactly.
like that. It's always like that. But any other time, it's not. I mean, we're talking about feminism right now, and I can feel the heat, the breath of men upon us, just waiting to say something.
Yeah, waiting to attack.
Yeah. Ugh, awful.
We will hear about it later on. But we wanted to talk about also like the humor in dating, because that's kind of like the second, I think, like thread in your content. You take a humorous
very
approach
funny.
to all of the topics that you talk about, especially in relationships. Talking about relationships, you always kind of like have this humorous approach and kind of like taking
the piss out of it.
a little bit,
Very cheeky.
but also giving very sound advice.
Yeah.
So
I'm happy it's coming across that way because that is exactly my goal. I think that sometimes women, and again, I'm saying women because that's my audience, I don't want to generalize, but women are approaching dating a little bit too seriously. They are,
Right.
especially they have these high expectations, and maybe it's societal expectations or pressures that you got to get married till a certain age. And then I have girls that are writing to me and they're like, oh, I went on 2 dates with this guy and he just like disappeared. Okay, so what? Like,
Yeah.
why are you putting so much importance on this random dude that you know for like 6 hours? Why
Yeah,
are you
awesome.
letting him control your life like that?
Yeah.
I think that they should, why the humorous approach? Because I do, and honestly, not a lot of people get my humor because it's a little dry, it's a little sarcastic. So when people get it, I'm happy.
I love it.
But I think that women sometimes are kind of putting all of their eggs in one basket. And I always say that when you are dating in the beginning stages, when you guys are not exclusive, date around, date multiple guys at the same time. Why would you just focus on this one guy exclusively if you guys are not exclusive?
Exactly.
It's like interviewing for a job and you're only like, you just interviewed one job for one position and you're just waiting. Like look around. So I think that women should also, when it comes to sex, I have a lot of questions like when should you sleep with somebody? So I just think that women are, I mean, I'm not saying that you should like just date around and be like promiscuous and do crazy things, but like don't take it so seriously. It's just a date, and when things are supposed to happen, they will happen. And I'm sure if somebody's single and listening and they're like, yeah, it's easy for you to say, but it's honestly whenever you're not expecting good things or life to happen, that's when it happens.
That's
usually
always when it happens. No, you're absolutely right. Anything in my life, sorry, you're
I just wanted to say, like, do you think that women feel more pressure to find a partner sooner and kind of like, trap someone? Like as keyboard warriors like to say it, like we're just trapping.
She's trying to trap a king. Yeah. All right, sit down, Joker.
Why do you think that is? Like, where does it come from?
If you think of when we were growing up, I don't know about you guys, but I was loving those like teen magazines, and it was all about like how to find your missing piece and how to make him like you, and how to do this, and how it's like always how do you change yourself for other people to like you. So we are conditioned into thinking that if we don't do XYZ, and that's why you have the good girl complex. I mean, when girls are just like saying yes to everything, or like pick me girls, whatever you want to call them, it's like you're just saying yes because you just want to be chosen. And then as you're approaching 30, you maybe have your parents are pressuring you. Maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe, I mean, I'm 32 right now, and my mom is always jokingly saying like, oh, when I was your age, I had 2 kids already. I'm like, yeah, but times have changed.
Yeah.
And maybe you can say it as a joke, but some other families are putting so much pressure. And then you might find yourself being in a relationship that's not really great, but you're 28 and everybody's pressuring you and all of your friends are getting married, and you're like, well, I should just do it, I guess.
Yeah, you just settle. You settle for what's there in front of you. Yeah. Awful.
Which is often the mistake that we make when when we panic.
Yeah. But it's hard not to panic, especially in today's society. I mean, there's so much pressure on women. Like you said it, we do it all. And there's still that huge societal pressure, especially in the US, that you have to get married, that you have to have kids, that you have to do this, you have to do that. You have to have that perfect 9 to 5 in that corporation, drive the Mercedes and come back to your white picket fence. But like, it's always starts with marriage. And I know growing up a lot of times when people talked about like, once you start living your life, when you get married and settle down, that's always rubbed me the wrong way, because I don't think life starts at marriage. Absolutely not. Life starts, once you become conscious of it.
I never understood what does settle down mean. Like, is my life over? Or
exactly, yeah.
Does that mean like my days are going to be the same from one point to the end?
Well, you're not clubbing anymore, right? Like, you're not going out anymore.
That's what that means. I don't know.
That's what it's supposed to mean, I guess. But that sounds awful. It sounds dreadful.
Well, apart from what you said, going around and seeing what's out there, like not settling down, what else do you think, or would you recommend women to do, or what should they invest in, or what should they invest in themselves, to prepare themselves for the dating world, or to meet the right person, if that's something that I want?
Yeah, wonderful question. I think that when you invest in yourself, you're always going to win. I don't know, if you start working out, a lot of girls are also writing to me saying that, they are not happy with their physical appearance. They're not happy with XYZ, and that's why they don't feel confident. So I always say just focus on yourself, whatever that may be. I think I used to hate working out, honestly. When I was like in my 20s, I was like, oh, that's a waste of time, whatever. But because I, first of all, felt foolish, I didn't know what to do. I came to the gym and I was like, I felt lost, and it was like intimidating.
Yes. Yeah.
And then it was just easier to say, oh, I don't like it. But then when I started working out, when I actually started seeing how it affects me, how it affects my mood, how it affects my body, how it just affects everything around. And you don't have to do like a crazy HIIT workout every single day, but just like go for a walk, do something good for you. Like you have to have those like rituals with yourself that you're just making yourself happy. And when you start doing those things, when you're committing to what you say, so I always also think that if you are giving promises to yourself that you're not fulfilling, so if you say, maybe you can have 5 things on your to-do list. It can be, let's say for a weekend, like, I'm going to do the laundry, I'm going to I'm going to walk my dog, I'm going to read a book, I'm going to do whatever. And if you don't do those things, you're just going to be a little bit disappointed in yourself. And I always think like if you have a boss and a boss gives you 5 things that you have to do, you're going to do those 5 things because your boss is going to yell at you. But if you don't do them, who's yelling at you? Nobody. Yeah. But you're just like you're just being disappointed over and over again because your word doesn't mean much to yourself. So when you start respecting what you actually say you're going to do, I think that's when confidence starts, and that's how you start like that self-love. And when it comes to investing in yourself, like also if you don't like your wardrobe, if you don't like, I mean, there's always something that we can improve in our lives. Yeah. So why don't you do a little mood board? It's so fun. Like make it fun. Don't make it a chore. Don't make it like, I have to go through my closet. Just make a little cute mood board, all the pieces that you like, and go through your closet. And if you don't, like if that t-shirt doesn't match the mood board, put it on the side. And then after a month you can revisit. And if you see like, I actually don't miss that piece, get rid of it. Later. Give it to someone or sell it or whatever. So I think you can make it fun.
That's really good.
Investing in yourself.
Interesting. Because that is also one point that is really hard with, just being a woman. It's so confusing. There's so many things that you can do, but, it can be super overwhelming. First, you need to find the right education out there. You need to learn all this new habits. So how to work out, how to do your makeup routine, how to dress, how to
eat well,
how to walk, how to do everything. So it can be super overwhelming, right? Yeah. How do you navigate that? I mean, one thing is kind of like a fun mood board, but then still you need to find tools out there to learn new stuff, right? Where can you find that? Where can you find something that is actually useful and not overwhelming?
I think one thing at a time. Don't try to like revamp your entire life next week. Yeah. It's like take it easy and understand that life is a journey, not to be like a Hallmark card, but like it takes time to, do certain things. And if this is what I do, I was very lost with my style for the longest time. In my 20s, I was like, maybe I like colors, maybe I like prints, maybe I like white, maybe I was just so confused. And then I found a few influencers, bloggers, whatever you want to call them, and I just looked at their style. I'm like, I wish I can dress like this. And then I would, again, coming back to the mood board, I would save photos of the outfits that I like, and then I would try to find pieces that are like that. So when it comes to makeup, I was a makeup artist for a long time, but the way I learned the best is when I was assisting somebody. So when you're assisting somebody who's been in the industry for the past 20 years, you're just standing next to them and looking and watching what they're doing. So if you like, for example, my makeup, the style that I do, watch my videos. If you like, just like find somebody that you like, and obviously don't replicate them, but just get inspired by that. Then I learn so much from podcasts. That's my favorite type of education. And also I like to read books, but I have like multiple books at the same time that I'm always reading. Awesome. I'm a big like self-help, self-growth junkie. So
if we're already here, do you have recommendations for literature for our audience, or even podcasts? Like, what's your favorite go-to materials?
Well, my podcast, Boujee Best Friend, obviously.
Of
course. But not to brag, but like I seriously love my podcast because I interview different types of people. It's not just like, because I have, I talk a lot about dating, but I'm not just like a dating person. I talk about leveling up. I have a lot of therapists. I have people. I had a girl who's like a hair specialist when your hair is falling out, what to do. So like I interview a lot of different experts that can help you with any type of topic. But then when it comes to books, there's this book that I'm currently reading. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear.
I heard about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it just shows how tiny habits and they can improve your life drastically. Then I love this book that's called Manifest by Roxy Nafusi. That book is just, we always talk about manifesting and how you can like manifest your dream life, but she kind of breaks it down in steps where you can understand what manifesting is and how to actually do it.
Yeah.
And then you understand that it's not really something you learn, it's just a way of life. So
Awesome.
if you want to be a healthy person, just start living like a healthy person. When you're going to dinner, just think, oh, what would a healthy person do? Would I order fries or a salad? If you are going out, are you going to have 3 drinks or are you going to have 1? Just like just start acting like the version that you want to become. So that's kind of like what that book broke down. I mean, I have so many, but there's this one that's called The Power of One More, which kind of motivates you, by Ed Milet. It kind of motivates you to not give up, that there's always, one more try.
Awesome.
But yeah, I think three is enough so far.
Amazing.
No, that's amazing. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I feel like with all these books, kind of like the thread is to create your self-care routine, or kind of like a habit of...
There's a common theme there.
Yeah, habit of living the way you want to live. So could you describe where you are at with your daily routine or daily habits that you're proud of, that you've built up, that kind of made you the,
who you are. Yeah,
who you are.
Who made you Koko.
I have to say that when I turned 30, everything changed for me. I don't know if it's the Saturn return or whatever. Something just like flipped in my mind, and I decided I'm going to live my life for myself right now, because doing things that other people want me to do, or just like living, in this kind of box that people think. I mean, also when I was moving from Croatia, a lot of people were telling me like, yo, you shouldn't do that. And I was like, but I want to, I really want to. And I just started doing things for myself. So the power of saying no, it really can change your entire life. And you just glow differently when you say no to things that are not, leading you towards that higher version of yourself. So if let's say you want to go hang out, a friend invites you to go get coffee or something, and you're just not in the mood, you have so many things to do at home, and you know that when you go meet up with that friend, you're going to be distant. You're just going to think about all the things that you should be doing. And you're almost kind of going to be resenting her that you're there, because you're like, oh, but I have so many other things to do. But then at the same time, you're a people pleaser. So you're going to say yes because you don't want your friend to be upset. However, when you say no and you just devote the time to yourself, you're going to be a better girlfriend, you're going to be a better wife, a better friend when you fill your cup first. Absolutely. And then your friends and your family, they're going to they're going to understand that this is the best for you. And I want everybody to do what's best for them. I mean, I motivate my boyfriend to go work out whenever he is in a bad mood. I'm like, just go for a run. You're going to feel so much better. And he does it. And then he does feel much better. So when it comes to my daily routines...
Also, don't be around me right now. Sorry.
No, when it comes to my daily routines, I try to work out every day, whether it's like an actual workout or is it just... I go to the treadmill and I just, scroll through my phone 30 minutes and whatever, just like get some kind of going.
Movement. Yeah.
I eat breakfast at home, and then lunch sometimes, I don't know, I pick it up or whatever. I also I love staying in. Honestly, I love staying in. It's just,
staying in is
I
the
love
best.
Making my home a sanctuary. I just love making it, the best.
Absolutely.
The best environment for me. And I generally try to be a healthy person. Obviously, I'm going to eat a pizza or a burger whenever I feel like it, but I'm trying to make healthy choices because I see how it affects my body. And meditation, I love listening to those guided meditations.
Oh, okay.
And when I'm running errands or something.
Sorry. My puppy joined.
Oh, my puppy, I just closed him in the next room.
We're in the office, so we can't close the studio, but meet Punchy.
Punchy.
So cute.
Sorry about
That's
that.
another thing. I spend so much time with my dog. My puppy is 6 months right now.
Oh,
6.5.
that's adorable.
And he is just I just love spending time with him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. I spend my time at home. I work out, and I hang out with my dog.
That's awesome. That sounds like the perfect life. I love it. Yeah. No, I'm all about
there's a lot of
staying at
events
home.
and a lot of things that I always constantly have to do. But
Yeah.
I think, just like taking care of yourself first.
Yeah. How do you remind yourself to kind of slow down? You said you have a lot of events and stuff. How do you kind of like, do you ever need to slow down and remind yourself like, hey, like, let's take a break?
Oh, yeah. October was really crazy for me because I was in Europe and I actually had a trip that I hosted with my followers, which was insane. It was
Wow.
amazing. It was so much fun. But that was Ibiza and Mallorca, so that was pretty intense.
That is intense.
Then
Yeah.
and it was like everybody's first time there, so it was like, I mean, we weren't like party animals, but there's just so many things to do, so many things to see.
Yeah.
Then I spent some time with my family. We went to London. Then I had another wedding. Then I had another, like, it was just so many things constantly. And as I mentioned, already the holiday season is starting in, the US. They're already like talking about December campaigns and stuff like that. So there was just a lot of things that I had to do. And when it comes to events, I always, again, come back to that. Is this helping me or is it just like taking me one step back? Because when you think about going to an event, you need, an hour to get ready. You maybe need 30 minutes to get there. You're mingling there for 2 hours. So that's already, and then you go back home. That's another half an hour. So it's like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
For what? Is it worth it? Just think about that. Is it going to help your business or is it not going to help your business? I do everything myself. I mean, I have a few people who work with me on my content and stuff like that, but it's mostly me. So it's like if I'm giving my time to something else, is that worthwhile or should I focus on building my business?
That's awesome. That's all. This is why I never give my energy to anyone or anything, and I don't do anything either. This is why I stay at home. I stay to myself. Like no
It's not worth
friends.
it. It's not worth it.
It's never worth it for me.
But this is where also I feel like your content is also kind of personal, and it feels like personal and professional can overlap. How do you distinguish that? And then also a question that I wanted to ask, like, what does your boyfriend think about the relationship advice that you give to other women?
So I'll answer the question with the boyfriend question. So he wasn't thrilled, obviously. First of all, he's a very private person. So in general, like being with somebody who is so out there was an adjustment. And for me, being with somebody who is so private was an adjustment. So I was just like trying to balance it. And also, I think that as I'm getting, I'm not even going to say older, but like as I'm maturing, I see that I don't need to share that much of my daily life. It just, I don't know. I just don't need that validation anymore. I remember there was a time when I used to share breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I would go for a walk with my friend. We would take a selfie. I would get ice cream. I would take a picture. Like, it's you have, as a social media person, you have to share so people, get to see what you're up to. But you don't have to share every single thing, and you can differentiate private from, professional. Like if I go to an event, obviously I'm going to share it, but I don't need to share a selfie going to the event with my boyfriend holding hands. Like it's just, there's a fine line and you decide what you want to show. And then what was the first question again? How do I?
You basically answered
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
Kind of like how do you separate and how do you set boundaries between professional and personal? I mean, partially you answer that with saying no to things and then also establishing whether something has values or not to spend time on, but then also this last.
I'm just going to add something when it comes to sharing on social media. I always think about this. Okay, sometimes I don't like follow this. Cut this part out, please. Okay, when it comes to sharing on social media, I always try to think, what am I trying to say with this piece of content? Am I trying to provide value? Am I just sharing something because I think it's cute? Am I posting it for the wrong intention? Like, do I have a wrong intention? Meaning, do I want other people to be jealous? Like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you posting this type of content? And that's going to give you an answer. Like, sometimes it's funny how people get triggered on certain type of content, even though your intention is not negative. I mean, with all the dating content that I post, I'm catering to a female audience. And then sometimes I get these guys that are just like commenting nasty things, but it's like, it's not even intended for you.
Yeah, it's not about you, bro.
So, yeah, Chad, we call them
Chads, yeah. It's not about you, bro. Like, no.
But yeah, but always like try to think like, what is the message you're trying to convey with this piece of content? So if you're posting your breakfast every single morning, are you trying to motivate people to eat better? Or you are just, I don't know.
I'm just trying to make them jealous. Like, I just want them to see how good I'm eating. Like,
I mean, some people are.
I mean, that's great as well. But
that's really good advice, actually, because sometimes I struggle. So I did have to create an account for my persona here on the podcast, and also I do Pilates. But sometimes it's hard whenever it comes to posting, because I'm like, well, what is my intention here? Like, and it does take a little bit of like self-awareness to say, this is more for my ego than it is for maybe educational, which it normally is. And I try to make things a little bit more educational or funny. But yeah,
there's nothing wrong in posting a photo where you're just looking cute.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Why not?
Exactly.
But if that's your main thing, to just like make other people jealous, I think
it's a bit toxic.
That's not going to benefit you in the long run either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just stopped posting because I have too many personalities and I have to I can't decide on just one. So
you should make a profile for each one of them.
Exactly. My profile was just like getting too confusing, and people were just like, "What are you?
What is this?
What is this?"
I personally love the
I don't know what is this. So
she's a Gemini. That's why. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, actually, we're both Geminis. So.
But I wanted to ask you something as well. You talk about finding a high quality man, high value man, and high standard life, and so forth. And as a millennial, these terms are kind of new to us, I guess. At least to me, they are. So could you explain a little bit more what is a high value man or woman, and then also what is a high standard life, or kind of what are the guidelines of high standard life?
I think the best part of this is that it's totally catered to you and what you want and what you want from your partner. So you have certain things that are your non-negotiables, and certain things that are, maybe like, oh, it's okay. Like, it's nice to have it, but it's not a deal breaker. So that's something that you first need to be very clear. Like, for example, for me, a high value man is somebody who respects me, who is loyal to me, who is going to be a gentleman, who's going to treat me well, who's going to be chivalrous, who's going to talk to my friends with respect, who's going to, I don't know, if I'm sick, he's going to bring me, there's just treating me in a way that I would want to be treated. So that's, for me, is a high value man. For some other people, maybe they don't really care if he's friendly with their friends because they just don't care about that. Maybe they don't care if he picks them up from the airport. I really care about that. Like, that shows a lot of character to me. And then when it comes to becoming a high value woman, I think that you can't really expect for somebody. So like, let's say you want somebody that's like on the very top, but you are not doing anything to improve your life. You're just like sitting on the couch and expecting this, I don't know, somebody fall into your lap and then treat you like a queen. And I also understand in the movies, you always see that little, girl that's like all lost. And then there's this guy who
the knight in shining
saves
armor.
her.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think that really happens in real life. Or if it does, they're going to control your life in one way or the other.
Yeah.
But I think that you just need to be the best version of yourself. That is a high value woman for me.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to have everything figured out, but you should just keep on trying to just improve yourself. I don't know, like, I just love improving myself, and I love to learn new things. I love to learn a new recipe. I love to learn a new workout move. I don't know, I love to learn how to do my hair differently. I just love to improve. And then when you are working on yourself, you're going to shine differently. Like, people are just going to be drawn to you because they're going to see that you value and respect yourself too much. And also, coming back to working out, I think people are going to respect you so much more when they see that you don't have to be like super toned and be like, have a six pack and whatever, but they're going to see that you're disciplined and that you have the willpower to do things that are not easy.
Yeah.
So they're going to respect you more.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like matching your energy with your expectations from the other side. Yeah.
That makes
Definitely.
sense. Yeah. But I love that, whenever you're talking about your definition of a high value man, and I think a lot of women, I think we all kind of have similarities. A lot of, again, generalizing, but we have a lot of similarities. But when we say high value man, basically we're just asking for the bare minimum still. Like, I think like these are all like, like respect my friends, treat me with respect, be loyal, and
Well, when they're talking about high value woman, they're talking about everything and
under the sun.
everything under the
They're
sun.
like, you cook, you clean, you suck, you fuck, you do this. Like, I'm calling it like I see it. Like, yeah, that's what and they're like, this is a high value woman that does everything. You dress
work
up,
out,
but you don't dress for the male gaze. Like, it's impossible and it's contradictory. But like as women, when we're like, oh, I want a high value man, they get offended because they're not high value and they know they're pieces of shit. And then, sorry, I'm just going to let it out.
On fire. Melly's on fire.
But like high value, it's like
to beep this out.
But yeah, high value. It's also like it's like just treat me like a human. Treat me like you love me. Like be in love with me and just.
And I love that you said that it's honestly the bare minimum, but the bar is so low nowadays.
The bar is so low. I'm not even.
Just need to.
I don't even joke about that. Like that's not a joke to me. Like when people are like, "Oh, like I'm dating this guy. Like he's really great. He treats me well. The only problem is this," and I'm like, "Girl, I don't care if he still lives with his parents and he's 40 years old. Like that's fine. Like as long as he treats you well and he's loving on you and giving you the love, respect, and loyalty that you want and deserve. Like whatever." And
I mean, if that rocks your boat, you do that.
Exactly.
But I just think that you deep down know if this is something that you're okay with or you're just like lying to yourself and settling.
Exactly.
Like I know also a lot of girls write to me saying, "Oh, I love this guy. Everything is perfect when we see each other, but he doesn't talk to me during the week and he doesn't like reach out and he doesn't do this." I'm like, yeah, it's very easy to put on a show for like 2 hours and be the best boyfriend, but it's not easy to be consistent and to be there for you, to, help carry your groceries, to just like help you solve that, I don't know, Gmail issue that you have, whatever, it's like somebody has to be there when it's hard as well, not just when it benefits them.
Well, back to modern feminism, asking for a bare minimum. That's the title.
I mean, so that's what it is. Modern feminism, asking for the bare minimum in a world of less than minimum. So
exactly. Don't hurt me. Don't kill me.
Yeah.
Carry my groceries and be nice.
Yeah, just be nice.
And open my door.
Open my door. Oh, I love that.
That's nice.
I just like a man that doesn't cheat, Like, that's my bare minimum.
Oh my God, Mel.
Awful.
Some more of like, maybe we should talk a little bit more about self-worth and how do you get there where you kind of like set the bar higher? Like I feel like a lot of women feel like they don't deserve to set the bar higher. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's a common thread in comments on social media that I see, and even amongst your followers and your questions.
I
feel like
so many trolls that say that, "Oh, you don't deserve that. Who do you think you are? You're such an entitled, blah blah." I'm like, first of all, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to you girls. Like, back off.
Like, get out of this combo.
I think it's also, I don't want to blame the society for everything, but it is. It's like somebody once in your life told you that you are asking for too much and that you should just like, lower your standards. I mean, my whole life, I have a really loving family and friends and stuff like that. But in my life, I was told that I'm asking for too much, that like my standards are too high, that like this is unrealistic, that what I want is not possible. I'm like,
oh, well,
it is possible, because if somebody else has it, why can I have it?
Exactly.
Why are they better than me? And I always had this. I've always thought of it in a way like, if they can do it, why couldn't I do it? I'm not less capable. I am healthy. I have a brain. I'm trying really hard. I work really hard. So why couldn't I get it? Exactly. But if you are surrounded by people who are constantly telling you that, it's very difficult. Like, your surroundings are stronger than your mindset. And if you are constantly surrounded by people who are telling you that you are too needy or too demanding, you're going to start believing that, because you think that they want what's best for you. So you're going to almost gonna be, you know, a little bit like brainwashed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. You trust them, so
Yeah.
you feel like
You
they're
think-
trying to
Yeah,
help
they
you.
know-
They're trying to do
yeah.
the best thing
That
for you.
opened my eyes just now. Like that struck a chord in me. You think they want the best
And they might
from you, and they might.
want
Yeah.
best for
Or
you,
they might,
but
yeah.
it's just their perception.
Just their
They're projecting
perception.
their perception and their
Exactly.
fears.
95% of the time, it's projection. So
Exactly. We always like to wrap up conversation with the advice from our experts. You are our expert right now, to give to our listeners, like what would be the top 3 things to start doing and the top 3 things to stop doing, in your opinion, for them to achieve, you know, a high value life.
Let's start with 3 things they should stop doing, because I can tell you that immediately. I think that we can all spend less time on our phones, and I'm not saying just like, oh, you're getting addicted and blah, blah, blah. It's like if you're constantly getting bombarded with other people's content, other people's opinions, you just don't have any time to think or to understand what it is that you really want, because you're going to be constantly like, oh, but she's doing that. Oh, and then you get jealous and you're like, oh, my entire friends list is on, I don't know, Saint-Tropez. Why am I not in Saint-Tropez? And then, you know, you just like start getting into this spiral and you think like you're not good enough. So less time on your phone, and also be aware that what people put on social media is the
not
highlight
real.
of their day. And yeah, it's not always real.
Yep.
Then what else can we stop? Okay, I have to say, when I stopped hanging out with people that are gossiping, my life improved so much. And I used to really love gossiping. I thought it was like also like a Balkan thing. Like we just like to get a little coffee and just like talk shit. But I realized it's such negative, toxic energy. And if I would rather spend time with people that are talking about ideas and new things they saw, or the books they read, or something that really sparks their soul or whatever, than meeting up with somebody and be like, oh, did you see that girl? Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, blah, 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 blah. It's just not benefiting you at all.
Absolutely.
And then, I have so many. Wow.
Keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this is kind of like what you should start doing. Okay, I'm going to count 3 and 3. I think everybody should go to bed earlier. I think that is life-changing. I never thought that I can become a morning person, but I became one, and I'm just blown away how much better my days. I think also because I got a puppy, so like he wakes up like super early.
Oh, yeah.
But when you wake up before, you know, your emails start coming. I mean, sure, you get emails like overnight as well, but like before, everybody is just needing something from you. And I feel like because I work in the social media space, I'm constantly giving and giving and giving and creating content and talking to people. It's so nice to just be on your own for like 2-3 hours before the world wakes up. It's just so refreshing. I think people should go on more walks. Walks are very therapeutic, even though it doesn't really seem like that because it's so easily accessible. But nobody is really promoting walks because nobody can really make any money from walking. So that's why it's not really talked about that much.
Good point.
That's
And
super
instead
Yeah,
of-
true. Super true.
And instead of talking to your friend on the phone or something, just like, you know, maybe just like walk without any distractions and just be present in the present moment. And I also love listening to meditations while I walk because it's just like a nice moment to be present and to just like see the world around you in such a different light. Another thing that I love doing is having no phone days. That is also mind blowing.
Ooh.
How
How does that work
the
for
way
you
I
though
do
as a
it-
social media?
How do you manage? How do you do that?
Yeah. So people. Okay. So the first time. It's so
And
funny, it's like
sorry,
I'm
your
talking
mother
about this.
doesn't call police. Your Croatian mother doesn't.
She
I don't
has
believe
my
that. I
location,
don't
so
believe that.
she has my location. But so the first, it's so funny. I feel like I'm talking about like losing my virginity, but like the first time I did it was my boyfriend and I, we were walking somewhere around Miami, and he had his phone just for like, you know, emergency purposes, whatever. But it was just so refreshing to walk and to just like live. And that was in the moment when I was still kind of like, getting rid of the constantly posting and posting and posting, because I felt like, oh, I can go to whatever restaurant and I don't need to take a picture, or I can just like look whatever way I want and I don't have to, you know, be cute, and I can just like live life. And I think that dating somebody who is more private kind of made me realize that constantly putting things out and constantly seeking for feedback from other people, it's not necessary. It's like, not. Yes, you can post as much as you want, but you don't really have to post all the time, every single day. And a lot of times I don't post in real time. People have no idea where I am. I mean, I post like with a few days, like I don't post that I'm in Ibiza right now if I'm in Miami, but you know, I'm not going to post that I'm eating at a restaurant that moment. I'm going to post it probably the day after.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's a few things that I mentioned.
That's really good.
Start doing and stop doing. I have a bunch more, but I think this is enough.
That was a good dose of what would Koko do?
Yeah, what would Koko do?
Hashtag what would Koko do?
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to add one more thing.
Yeah.
I think romanticizing your life is very important for somebody who doesn't know what romanticizing your life means. It's just create joy in the little things. So when you come home, you don't have to like turn on all the lights. Why don't you light a few candles? What I started doing, I create my custom ice. So I cut up like
custom ice.
Ice.
You know, Americans and ice. Come on, like
you've
seen ice
Americans
TikTok. We love our ice.
Oh, now you're so American.
So, but look at me, I'm like, go on.
Yeah. So I will tell you what I do with my ice. So I work from home, so I spend a lot of time at home. So I'm trying to make my space/office space, you know, as cute as possible. So I cut up like cucumbers and mint, and I freeze it in just like little ice cubes. And then when I'm drinking regular water, I just put those little ice cubes and I add a little glitter. Then I have a little cute straw. And it just makes it so much more fun.
It does.
Or like sprinkle a little cinnamon on your coffee, make it a little foamy. Just like make it cute.
I like that, romanticize your life. I'm gonna take your advice, and for the next week, I'm gonna start romanticizing my life a little bit more.
This is so much next level for me. Like I drink cold tea from compote jars.
Yeah, like mason jars.
From mason jars.
I mean, try it for a week. Yeah. There's nothing to lose.
Yeah. I'm going to try it for a week, and then I'm going to comment under this episode how it went. So, yeah.
I should try that as well. Now I want to be that girly.
Yeah. Let's be that girly.
Let's be that girly.
Boujee besties.
Boujee besties. Yes. I love it.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, Koko, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciated this conversation. It definitely derailed from what we wanted, but I think that is amazing, and I think that's awesome. And this is definitely a lot more raw, and I think there's a lot of you said a lot of really cool things, and I look forward for
amazing advice. Yeah.
Amazing advice, and I'm so excited for our audience to be able to listen to it as well, and to try in on these challenges.
You guys invited me. This was very fun. You guys are very easy to talk to and very friendly.
As well. So you as well. This felt like three best friends, like just hanging out. So that's awesome.
Yay, I love it. And now we gotta get our little matching straws and a little glitter water.
And there we go.
Matching ice.
Matching ice. Yeah.
You know what, Wojcika, I think I might just create a tutorial how to make your ice.
Yes, do that. Please do that and share it with us, and then we can create matching ice.
Perfect. Awesome.
Love it.
And then the straws.
Yeah, the straws. Well, thank you guys for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We know that we absolutely enjoyed it.
Follow us and listen to this podcast on every podcast platform.
Absolutely. Spotify, Apple Music. We're on YouTube. We're on every platform you can imagine. Like, subscribe, hit that bell.
We also have a new Instagram channel profile. Instagram profile just for this podcast that you can follow, which is separate from Bellabeat Company podcast. Sorry, not Bellabeat Company podcast, but Bellabeat Company Instagram profile. Sorry.
And don't forget that if you enjoyed listening to Koko, you can also follow her on her channels as well. You said it's Boujee Best Friend.
My personal page is Koko Beauty.
Okay.
And my podcast page is Boujee Best Friend.
Boujee Best Friend. Perfect.
And my podcast is on all platforms. So if you find me on one page, you're going to find me everywhere else.
Perfect.
So just do some digging.
We're both tangoing there.
Amazing.
Awesome. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Have a great day.